Tasty meatballs, aren't they, boys? Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. It's a new week here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. The last week, the final countdown, if you will, to Triple Match Miracle Match. I can hear some of the lions singing a reminder in the background as we visit with Kitu and Lavani. Never like interrupting the lion songs. Be nice, boys. Hanging out with Kitu and Lavani today here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. These guys are just enjoying a little meatballs. And I see Mr. Lavani says, I'd like another meatball if that's okay. Hope everybody's doing well. Happy Monday. You're tuned in to the one and only Wildcat Sanctuary. That's Kitu and Lavani, two of our most recent rescues, enjoying a little meatball snack courtesy of Caretaker Elyse. And we're going to hear right from the horse's mouth a little later on in this post about how Kitu and Lavani have been doing since their arrival 2 weeks here to the sanctuary. Hi Amanda from Kissimmee, Florida. Afternoon to you, Lisa. Hey Nor, thanks for joining us. Susan Mensa, hi to you. Pretty Cheetah, you're right about that, Carrie. Kitu and Lavani are absolutely spectacular. These are our first ever cheetahs at the Wildcat Sanctuary. And you guys can go to Kitu and Lavani's resident page to read all about them and the road that led them here to the Wildcat Sanctuary. But today we're going to talk about a little about how these guys have been acclimating and adjusting to sanctuary life. And Elise, I'm going to unclip my microphone. And if you wouldn't mind just telling everyone how these two boys have been doing, because you've actually been their primary caretaker for the past 2 weeks.
Been helping out, yeah. One of them. They're doing really, really good. Obviously, when they first got here, it was going to be their first time that we had heard actually seeing some of these other big cats. And they live in our Cougar Cove area, so they're actually around some of the smaller cats, not right next to all of our big cats. And any of you guys that have been following, you've seen that we've put up a large blind around the back just to make them more comfortable. But as you can see, they're settling in really, really well. They were inside for the first few days because we wanted them to kind of acclimate there and know that that was a safe place that they could be inside. Unfortunately, here in Minnesota, we are still pretty cool considering that we're going into spring. So we really wanted to make sure they knew where their heated area was and that they would come back to it. And they've been doing awesome with that. We asked them to come in for meals and they come up. Obviously, the first time that they kind of got access, they were a little nervous. And actually, we were told Kitu is the one that is more dominant and a little bit more forward. But Lavani was actually a little bit more like, yeah, I'll show this, and led his brother kind of back up to the building. So that was kind of interesting to see. But Kitu since then has kind of stepped forward again now that he's gotten comfortable.
See if we can follow along.
Sure, walk on down. But otherwise, as you guys can see, they're kind of grooming each other after their little meal snack that they had just now. But others, we're really happy to see how they've kind of been just acclimating in here, and they've done well with their neighbors. They've been really curious about Daisy, the tigress that lives across the way. They kind of watch her, and they have a shared wall, and all of that is double paneled and meshed so that nobody can reach or touch or anything like that with these boys, and has safe, and we monitor all the time. But Ramsey was a little like, wow, those are some really tall lynx that I wasn't exactly sure about, but after Ramsey came over and kind of huffed at him, he walked off back to his box and he was fine with that. And then the three wild don't really seem to care that they've got two new cheetah neighbors, and they kind of just have their own space, and so they're really acclimating nice with even their neighbors and feeding and coming in. So it was really great to see, because this is our first time having cheetahs here, so we wanted to do everything that we could to make these boys settle in, and it seems like all that effort that all of the caretakers and staff have done has really paid off for these guys.
That's awesome, Elise. Thank you for saying that. And I think that, obviously we want, all of our cats to adjust, well when they do come here to the sanctuary. But I think that, these two in particular have done an excellent job at really acclimating at quite a fast pace. Mm-hmm. And, I think I'm going to give Elise a little kudos here. I think a majority of it, has to do with the dedicated care that Elise and her caretaking staff are providing. So this is my little kudos to you, Elise, is that a lot of that is because of your dedicated efforts.
Oh, well, thank you, Judson. But I have to say the other caretakers did just as much work.
That's true. Our entire caretaking staff as a collective. Let me see if I can get my microphone clipped back on. There we are. thank you so much for that kind of brief, Elise. I know, you know, I try to do my best of staying plugged in with the caretakers on how all these cats do, but I know that our supporters really appreciate hearing from the person who's right here on the ground caring for these cats. And Elise was mentioning that these two are certainly curious about their neighbors. I see Ramsey hopscotching around his habitat. Beauty, of course, is always trying to demand the attention of her new cheetah neighbors. And it's certainly been entertaining to see that these guys have been entertained by their neighbors. I'm going to go walk over here and see if I can catch up with the brothers. Welcome everyone. If you're just tuning in, we just heard a very detailed update from Caretaker Elyse on Cheetah's Kitu and Lavani. And she was just explaining about how these two boys have been acclimating since they arrived 2 weeks ago, as well as some other nuances on how they've been doing here at the sanctuary. I can confidently say that these two boys have stepped on every single square inch of their habitat. They have explored this place up and down. And that's been another cool thing to see, is just how up and active these cats are. Let's see, someone is asking, Paul is asking, I hope these two cheetah boys have their habitat a tall elevated mound of dirt or perch for their observation. You are right about that, Paul. We certainly keep that in mind with all of our residents, is providing them kind of species-specific options. And this was actually a mound that we already had in this habitat that former resident Laisha, the lynx, loves sitting on this mound. And as a matter of fact, I've already got a photo of the cheetah boys sitting on this mound. So here's a little high spot for them to get the lay of the land. And of course, they actually have a wooden perch just right over here, as well as another one in the front part of their habitat. So that's one thing that many of you know here that we do at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Maybe you're new to us, is rest assured that we are doing everything within our capacity to make sure that we're providing the creature amenities for our cats, or the creature comforts for our residents, be it a perch, a mound like we mentioned earlier, enrichment, toys, you name it. And so now that these two boys have eaten, they're going to be on the prowl, checking out their neighbors, getting a little exercise. Hey Rita Iverson, I see your comment. Congrats on meeting your miracle match. You know, Rita, you are right. As a matter of fact, we were able to set up a Facebook fundraiser just to help us raise the partial goal of our greater goal of $60,000. And just within that Facebook fundraiser, we were able to meet our $6,000 goal of that Facebook fundraiser. So I'm going to extend my sincerest thank you. I know Parker actually just put up a post thanking everyone and kind of celebrating that accomplishment that you all helped us achieve. And also just kind of moving the needle and helping us reach our greater goal, our biggest goal of $60,000 for our triple match. I don't know exactly where we are. I can't give too much of a status update. But I know that we are still working towards our goal of $60,000, and Tammy's going to talk about it tomorrow. We're going to be doing some special live posts happening the last 3 days of Miracle Match this week. That's going to be starting on Wednesday. Hey, Mr. Lavani, are you pretty? He says, I am. There's a little cheetah noise for everyone. So certainly a lot to look forward to this week as Miracle Match wraps up. And, you know, truly, I think just talking about the rescue of these two cheetahs, talking about the habitat that they're living in, and also the improvements that we're wanting to make on these in this habitat to help accommodate these cheetah boys. I mean, I think it just speaks for itself how much your support does here for the Wildcat Sanctuary. It allows us to say yes to those cats in need, as well as, you know, providing the best life possible for our current residents as well as those yet to come. And I saw someone asking, how do you tell them apart? So, might be hard to distinguish on the live post, but we've pointed out in some photo posts that Kitu, who is down there rooting around in the ground, Kitu has a little bit of a hair lip, or Elvis lip, endearingly enough. And so he's got that crooked bottom tooth, and that kind of perches his lip up under it. And so at least for me, that's been my best way of identifying Kitu from Lavani, as well as I've noticed that Lavani's coat is a little bit lighter than Kitu's as well. And I think this is a great example of how these two are always on the prowl. There goes Lavani, checking out the scene, looking at Miss Tigress Daisy, who's across the way, and Kitu is wondering if maybe there's an extra meatball hidden down here. Hope Gorman, you're asking, what is Kitu fixated on? Earlier in the post, we were feeding Kitu and Lavani little treats, meatball treats, and so that is what he's making sure that there's not one morsel of meatball left down there. And who can blame him, Kitu? It's lunchtime. I'm hungry too. Lainey is asking, have you seen them chasing each other around the enclosure? I haven't seen them chasing. Elise and I were just hanging out a little bit before the live post, and I got to see them do a trot, which is basically like looked like a jog, but I mean, that's peanuts to them. These cheetahs obviously are built for speed, but nothing like a full-blown run just yet, but certainly seeing them trot and kind of just gives you some perspective as to how fast these cats are. It is worth keeping in mind that Kitu and Lavani are considered geriatric cheetahs. I guess, we're not exactly expecting these two to be, spring chickens and running up and down the habitat, but I'm sure that these boys still have it in them, and we've certainly given them the space to kind of stretch those cheetah tendencies and build some speed up if they do feel that that is something they want to do. See what other questions we had. Oh, gosh, how are they doing with their neighbors? You and Elise talked a little bit about that earlier when she was speaking, and that's nothing negative to say. These guys have been. Oh, okay, my microphone's on the ground. You guys can probably hear me now, and not the microphone that's been dragging on the ground. How are they doing with their neighbors? Asked Ellen Simmons. They're doing tremendous. We have a blind up here that I'll be walking up on, and that's just kind of easing these guys into their tiger and cougar neighbors. But so far we haven't seen any negative interactions between the two. But we'll just keep that blind up until caretakers say so. Another thing that we've been doing to make sure that we're kind of easing these boys into sanctuary life is really kind of minimizing the traffic that's coming around this part of the sanctuary. So caretakers haven't been driving their UTVs, and we've just been trying to, like I said, minimize the people traffic just to help with that transition. But fortunately, as we heard from Elise earlier, that transition is just going absolutely spectacular. And I appreciate everyone's patience. I'm doing my best to keep up with the cheetah boys. They had a little snack, and now they're feeling energized and wanting to walk around and strut their stuff. Welcome everyone. If you are just joining us, we're hanging out with Cheetah brothers Kitu and Lavani. It is our last week of triple match where your donations are 1, 2, 3 tripled for the residents of the Wildcat Sanctuary. There goes Lavani here. I saw the hair lip first, or the Elvis lip for a moment. It might be hard for you guys to see on the live post. Nonetheless, we'll post some more kind of identifying features of these two brothers to help you guys out on the live post. I know we pointed out that Elvis lip and kind of the different colors of their coats, but obviously there's some differences in the facial markings as well. But everyone, I think we're going to call that a live post for the day. We've been kind of running around trying to keep up with the cheetah boys, walking along their shared wall with Ramsey. They love getting a look at Beauty, who's 2 habitats over. And of course, love getting attention from Caretaker Elyse and her cohorts here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Please be sure to check out the full post. We heard a great kind of rundown of how these two brothers have been acclimating to sanctuary life from Caretaker Elyse. And we're just so happy that these boys are blossoming. And truthfully, none of this would be possible without your support. And as I've said, it's Miracle Match, where your donations are 1, 2, 3 tripled. And we're actually in the final stretch of Miracle Match. The days are numbered where you can have the largest impact on these cats. So I'm going to encourage everyone to give a tripled gift. If you already have, I'm going to give you a roaring thank you. And please do like, share, spread the word. Even if you have given a gift, maybe some peers in your social media feed, friends or family, are generous enough to give a gift during this tremendous time as well. So for Kitu and Lavani, as well as Elise and I, we hope everyone has a great rest of your Monday, and we're looking forward to seeing you on a live post soon. And also look forward to some information about what's going to be happening during the last 3 days of Miracle Match. You know that this special fundraiser is not going to have a quiet end. We got to end with a crescendo and something exciting. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with everyone here. That'd be tomorrow. So thank you again, everyone, and we'll see you soon.